Well, welcome to the chapter one. Let's put a base to start. Let's create a filter system product category, some stuff that like we stop talking and actually building. What I like to do is I'm gonna go here, create don't mind these things, this is something irrelevant. I'm gonna go to the work section, work Torabian. I like to put this into my GitHub profile right away so we don't lose track of it. And you will have the access to this in the workshop on my website. So if you come to the torabian.github.io, you go in section of workshops, there will be a workshop here. I'm recording it now, obviously, but there will be a workshop here regarding e-commerce product, and then you can download the file. It's going to be look like similar to this. So for the React and Go plugin system, you have download files here. If you watch this workshop, and then like, similarly, you can have access. All right, so I put these things into other folder, and I like to open this folder when Nautilus, and I like to go to downloads and then take Firebag boilerplate. And then I'm gonna go to again work, and then here other, and paste it. Let's extract it, and that's extracted. We take this out, delete these two files, we don't want it. Firebag microservice, and then I'm gonna call this product workshop. So for you, you don't know, the Firebag is coming from a product of mine. So if you go to the product section, you go to the Firebag, you can download it from here. I believe the microservice one. So if you click on that, this microservice comes. You can go to the GitHub, check it out. It's a huge project by itself. And if you go to the releases section, you can get the microservice or whatever else. So you can read about it later on if you don't know. But I expect for this workshop, you already have the knowledge for the Golang and React a little bit, and I will explain things as we go forward. All right, so what we need is we need to go to product workshop of ours, and then we make it. So like it's gonna install the dependencies and all those stuff. And then while that happens, I'm gonna go and open it with the VS Code. So I'll be like starting to code some stuff here. Let's close the plugin, and then we will check if this is done. Perfect. We check the app. We have our application ready. So it's cool so far, nothing wrong. We need to create a module. I'm gonna use run task and call this a module, and then call it product. So a module is basically what you put all the entities, actions, a lot of features into a module, like a folder. Modules, we call it module. That's very simple as that, like a set of features. And I'm gonna save this file. The important thing is with this Firebag, you need to learn how it works because it requires some extensions to be there. I already have these extensions installed. Check that on the document if you don't know zero about it, because then like some features will not work. When I'm saving, now it's compiling it. You have to have a run unsafe plugin and some knowledge. Okay, so what we need actually for a product system, I like to go to this website called Allegro, and then I'm gonna search like RUR to what? Yeah, let's say RUR do Comunica. So it means that like I'm gonna go to this product, and it is like just a simple product. It came to my mind, nothing special with it. But the point is, in a marketplace like this, you have categories, right? And then the categories are having like subcategories. And then in each category, in the end, for example, system kominkowe, we have some filters on the left side. So some filters are related to the category, and some are like general, like if you go to any category, they are already there. And then you can see the subcategories with that, and often like extra parameters. For example, the length here has a sense or a mark, and like you can see other marks. I think this is not a perfect job because it just groups all of them and shows it here. I can search through it. Would rather be like showing 5 items here, and then if I had the option to search and just see those 5, like I don't want to scroll all the way down. That's the point. And then the point is when you're going sometimes from a category to the higher category, and then you see like the filters staying or might disappear. So if the subcategories, all of them are having a kind of like filter system, then it would show up here. Now here they don't have much in common. Probably if there was another, like let's go to the roof, maybe Dache means roof. It's Polish, by the way, if you're watching. And then yeah, like you might have dimensions, like you see the filter of the price has been changed a little bit. So instead of like having a large amount of price in this category, so like these particles are between, let's say, 100-150. So we just have a little bit of different showing, and that's what it is. So basically what we need is a filter system that we can filter things with it. And we need attributes. For example, when we come into the product, it's like these are parameters here. And then we are mentioning the parameters, information about it, and then some description. We allow it to write, and like similar products, let's say on the same category. And then we will gonna implement maybe in chapter, actually, like this thing means other clients visited these things as well. So if I came here and then if I gone and searched for maybe another thing, then we had to kind of link these things together and then like have an information about it, which we will do in a while. And yeah, that's gonna be a very cool feature. Let's go to our code base, and what I'm gonna start with is to create a filter type. So let's call it a parameter, and parameter type. And then the description of it is minimal representation of a type for a parameter. Now, throughout this workshop and everything else I do, especially when I'm deciding for a project, is I put everything into the database. And that has few benefits, although it seems a little bit hard. So we could do this in an enum and put it in a Golang. But now when we're putting this, system becomes extremely resilient, right? And you can modify it, you can edit it, you can create different version of it. You can translate them, you can report them. Like gives you like endless options, which you might just not see in the first day. But trust me, you can do that and put everything in the database. It works very well. So a minimal representation of a type parameter, and then the fields are the name is the name, type is a string, and then translate true. So I want to have different translations for this. And description, let's say type of the parameter, which can be selected for a parameter. All right, and then the name, another field we want to have the description, type is a string, translate true as well. Description is describe the parameter type, so selection is easier for content management. And another thing I like to add is the binding key, which is string. And then it's not translatable, but the description is a unique key that would bind this type to programming language based on limits in the code base. So what the binding key does here is it would put the some kind of a relation in the database into the programming language. Let's say we have a parameter type, which is an enum. So color, for example, if you go to the website and we have like a color of the product, it's an enum, right? So it's red, green, yellow, something like that. Therefore, what happens is we have enums, we have numeric values, we have selections, and also I have prepared a list of them with ChatGPT. But the thing is, we can't have parameter types which is not defined in our backend. So although we are putting this into the database for other purposes that we discussed, we will see in future, we need to have a way to bind them to the backend system. So the binding key can be an option to do that, and that's what it is. And we have to limit that later on to the types we support, but also we could use the unique ID. So I'm gonna put a doubt here. I doubt it if unique ID could be enough, because the unique ID is already unique and we can validate it against a list of supported parameter types, right? And so we will discuss later on if that's a great idea to do. The interesting thing is by saving this and we have created like parameter type entities, and this is a Firefox feature. And I like to add the validation required to this. And this validate is a go validate, go 101 validate, whatever you put here goes there as a tag. Description is not needed. And then let's say the binding key is also required. Now, what I want to do is go and add this created entity to our entity bundle. So by just auto suggestion, the only thing can fit in here is an entity bundle, which is from parameter type. And I believe if I go to the main, I will have this module automatically added as product. I'm gonna build this because it's gonna be very boring if we only talked about it and didn't test anything actually. So we have here product and then the issue with that is I believe like we didn't have a description for this file, and I like to have a module to manage product catalog itself. Now I'm thinking we put the inventory out of the product catalog module later on. Therefore, we just have a product and then like inventory, which depends on the product. But for now, it should be enough. We are doing the product catalog first. I go to the app and then the product is there. I'm clicking and then parameter type. So one thing is important in Firebase, you need to have an environment initiated. So I want to create a dev environment. It's not a production. I'm going to use SQLite, silent, and then port 4500, adding tables, no SSL, and that's it. So because now we added this thing before we initiate the environment, the migration has already happened. So if I write product, parameter type, queue, you see like we can query the parameter types we have. I can create one. Obviously, it says the name and binding key are not set because we said they are required elements. All right. One thing I like to do further before we move on is to like change the CLI short to PT. And what it does is, instead of I'm typing the parameter type each time, it would accept also PT. So I can use PT parameter type create, and that makes it a little bit easier for me. I'm gonna add the name called enum, and then I'm gonna add a description, enumerable value such as colors, and then the binding key is enum, so like a unique value. And then this has been created perfectly fine, and we have such thing called a binding key enum, unique ID, and description, and I believe the name enum here is done too. So the next is also the cursor. You can like query that, and all those things are in place, and I think we are perfectly fine with the parameter type. After we created the parameter type, now actually what we need to do is to define a parameter itself. So a parameter will be some kind of a definition, like a color instance, which will be used between multiple categories. So if you say I have a category of cars, and then on inside of that, like I have, let's say, sedan and the minivan, and then sedan and minivan both are using the filter called color, which is unique in the database. Therefore, when you come to the category of car, you can select a color, and it's going to filter only those colors and shows it back. And this is going to be a very powerful thing, versus if we allowed custom color for every category, then we couldn't really match these things properly. So I like to go and create the parameter here, description, a list of parameters that we assign to product category or product instance, and they are unique, referenced across the entire code base, data. And then what fields we need for that is one, I believe, name. I like to copy the name because we already have such thing, a little bit higher. Name, interesting. String required, name of the parameter, which is gonna be available in product, in category search. So we name the parameter like color, for example, like let's say e.g. color, length, width, and anything else. That's it. And then the name is description. Again, we can take the description from here, describe the parameter to save some time. The parameter, so selection easier for content management. That works well for me at the moment. And another important thing we need is to say what type is this parameter. That's why we created the parameter type. So I'm gonna say parameter type, and then description, the type of the parameter in terms of data structure, and then I'm gonna add, like, this already type of it is one, validate required, and target of it is parameter type entity. So when we created this parameter type, we already generated parameter type struct in the code base. Therefore, we want to like address that the type of this is that one. So in terms of SQL, they are becoming binded to each other. Now, by doing this, I feel here the binding key is a little bit not necessary, because then we had to have extra query to put binding key in there, and which is redundant totally, and it's even make it hard for migration later on. We will go and instead create this, add this the other bundle into here, and we need the entity to be auto migrated first, and then this one. That's all good. We will make the project. I'm gonna make app migration apply. It's an auto migration mechanism which migrates things. You may like it, may not, and that's also a thing. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and add a shortcut CLI to this as P, because PA, so it would confuse with the product, so I want to make it PA to make it a little bit easier for me. I need to recompile it, and I'm gonna add app, gonna type in app product PA, cool, query, there is no parameter here. All right, so we created before a parameter type, right, as enum. And the issue with that is the unique ID is this one. And I really didn't like this. And I like to wipe that out and create another parameter. UID is enum, which is automatically unique. And then the description, I'm going to copy it like here, put it in. And then I'm gonna call the name as enum and then enter. So let's see what happens. Okay, we made a mistake here in terms of double quotations, and UID, enum, description, color, name. Binding key is not set. Okay, I'm gonna set a binding key just for passing this to enum. And we really didn't need the enum key. We can remove it now from our definition. But the point is, we already, let's check it. Yes, we already have unique ID of enum. So Firebase allows you to set the enum, set the unique ID for an entity upon creation. And this helps us a lot because now when we are creating a parameter, and then I'm gonna get a help from it, and it says a name, description, and a parameter type ID. Let's go and create one. Let's say name is color, and then parameter type ID is enum, and flag provided parameter. Yes. So now you see parameter type ID is enum, and this is a great thing to happen for us because now we know this parameter type, this parameter, which is a color, the type is an enum, and it's going to be very useful forward we are going. So if we go and query this deep, you see the object is linked to each other. So the parameter type is an enum, color, and so we can reuse this type for many things, you know, like now we can have another parameter type enum as, let's say, usage status, and it's like new, old, or whatever it is, you know. All right, we can put that this way so people can create content in there. Deciding on if people can modify the enum value later on or not by entering values to that is also another thing we need to improve in a real e-commerce scenario. But for now, we just need to have some ground information to work on. So far, we have created the filter system and the type of them, and then we will work on our way further on. One more thing I like to add in this workshop so far is, like to this chapter, is we need something called category. And the category is like representing categories across the products which can have product or child categories or both at the same time. So when we gone to this like like e-commerce platform, there is categories, right? So we want to have categories available for us. So let's go to the fields name, and I like to take the name also again from here because it's just convenient to copy and paste. It's very uncomfortable to work in VM, but I'm doing it now for the purpose of the workshop. And name of the category. And I'm gonna save this. And what happens is, again, the files are being created. I go to the product module, insert the category, save, make, and we will have this product category now. Query, there's no such table, and then we need to run migration apply. Categories are here now. So if we create a category, let's see what they do. They say Firman Usługi, like company and services. Let's say company and services. Then I want to set a unique ID for this to make it life a bit easier for me. I call it company and services. And then create that. And what happens is if I query that we have a company and service, then I would like to like go like here maybe to the welding and tools. So I'm going to add two categories for that, and then I'm going to call them name tools, and then unique ID. UID basically is tools, and then PID, which is a parent ID, is company and services. And this is very important that the parent ID is being set. I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to call this UID welding and welding, and then it's a part of that one. Now if we query this category, we will see three items are here, right? Company, and then this is the parent of it, but it doesn't have this recursive structure. One thing we need to do in Firebag, it's coming with it, is that for a field, for an entity, you can have a CTE true option. So when you add the CTE true, it would add the recursive queries toolkit to it. It's just a helper to make things a bit easier for us. So when I query, you see their flat structure, but now if I go to the category, I have this option called query CTE. So it's the same query, but in a recursive manner. So when I have CTE, now I have like category of company and services, and then I have tools and then welding in it. This is like a very good option to do as a recursive query system. Though it's very expensive, you might want to like cache this, but we will not have more than like 1,000 categories, barely. I don't think so. Even they have 100 categories, and that's what it is. You don't want to have like millions of categories people go and lose in it. You know, it's not all about programming, it's rather how human is accessing some content. So far it's good. In the next chapter, I will create the mechanism to define a form for a category. So when you want to go to a category, then you will be able to create the product, fill in the information, and then we will move on from there. The point is we are creating the database structure in the backend first. So when we go into the front end section, we don't have to like repeat this work, migrate, and do all of those things. So we're gonna try a bit CLI-ish for a while, for a few chapters, and then we will go and create the UI. You will see like how fast it will be to create things with that in the Fireback. Thank you for watching so far. I know it is tiring, but stay with me. This is gonna be very good investment in terms of architecture across your career. And maybe this results into something very good. Who knows? See you very soon.